ultimately I had to make 7 molds. I had to make one giant mold for the body and then the pieces. And when you're ready to go, when the piece is ready to be cast, you start throwing the silicone on. And it's very tedious, especially the first coat, because you don't want to trap any air bubbles. So you have to make sure you mix small amounts and slowly pour it over the whole thing. And you can't push too hard or you'll ruin the texture. It's very time consuming. The kind of molds I want to do, I want it to be flexible, so it comes apart easy. So if I'm doing a wax or something, it won't break. The silicone itself needs to be reinforced, which we call a jacket, which keeps the impression. There's multiple ways of making jackets. It's all different materials. I found the ultracal mixed with hemp to be the best method for me because the other stuff gets really pricey. You can keep it really thin. The hemp is incredibly strong, especially when it's all tied up in knots, and then once that cement dries, it's really strong. I think I did the whole thing, the whole casting process in 3 weeks. The material that you're seeing, it's a urethane plastic, like a resin. It's not as toxic as the other resins, the polyester and the epoxy. So it's fairly safe and it's really strong. It's always tricky the first time you use a mold. You never exactly know how it's gonna work, where the problem areas might be. It's always tricky, and using a new material and doing such a big casting, it was really, really challenging, but I think it went really well. I'm really happy with the material. To put the legs back on and the tail and the head, and then it gets kind of messy. You have to clean it up, you have to grind it down, reapply, retexture. That takes a while. The way I tinted it, I made it kind of all different colors, so it has a very marble-less kind of feel, but it's not dense and heavy like marble, it's light. That can be my base coat. And I'll very subtly go over it with more color, like I'm not like painting over the whole thing. It's kind of an intuitive process. I don't want you to focus on the base, so I wanted something that was kind of simple but not too simple. It can't be too big. The bigger the base was, the smaller the sculpture felt. Same thing with the height. You put the sculpture up too high and it doesn't feel quite right, and then you lower it, doesn't. And then there's that one spot in the middle where you just like, yes, that's the spot.